Well, hello, everybody. What's going on, bosses? Adrian here from Hasta La Vista Boss, and we have Fix here with me as well. What's up, buddy? Welcome.
How you doing? How you doing?
Yeah, brother, all good, my man. Thanks for joining me today for this fun live stream, fun and educational, because maybe we're gonna learn something from Graham Stephan. Don't call him Stefan because he hates that. So let me quickly go to the chat and see if there's anybody in the chat here today with us. Hey, thanks for the comment on Twitch. At least we know that that thing is working. We have Adrian, we have Sue, Helen. Who else was in here? So thanks a lot, guys, for being here. In today's live stream, we're just gonna have some fun and educate ourselves a little bit in terms of money and financial. And since Fix and I, we are millennials, I said, well, why not reacting to a video that maybe is gonna make us millionaires as well, right?
Got it. I think you're stretching. You're like just a millennial, though, right?
Woohoo!
Check it out. These shirts are available on Redbubble.
That's what I'm talking about.
What else was I supposed to say, Adrian, for the $100?
Wait, this is not sponsored. There you go. Look, there's the screen. If you guys want to buy your Hasta La Vista Boss merch and support the channel, that's awesome. Have you heard about about Graham before? Are you familiar with his stuff?
You recently mentioned it. I haven't even watched this whole video, even though I know we had a few OBS practice runs. I just know the only thing I saw was him. I think it's probably stopped by now, but it was like him reacting to the Dragon's Den guy, reacting to him, reacting to Prince.
Yeah, I've seen some of it. He's doing some of these videos that reacting to him, reacting to someone else, reacting to him, to that reaction. It's like an infinite loop.
Oh yeah. So I know he's in the. I think he does real estate. He's a young millionaire, and I'm sure it's just a whole factory that pushes out videos every day.
Yeah, I mean he's successful. You know, he made some money with real estate, and then he started to show his journey, or share some stuff on YouTube, and then just blew up. So maybe reacting to him, maybe we're gonna blow up as well.
Yeah, I think anyone like him, like he encourages and motivates people to become entrepreneurs who are probably suited to be an entrepreneur but haven't considered it yet.
Sweet. So before we go into this, guys, hey, can we quickly listen to the Hustler's Anthem?
Yeah, I know sometimes it's hard when you get the feeling you just want to quit your job. We've all had that thought. This is what you want. Time to tune in. Hasta la vista, boss. Yeah, for my side hustlers who never stop. Quit your job and making your own profits. Become your own boss. Live life on your terms. Make it happen for real. This is what you deserve. Yeah. Hasta la vista, boss. Subscribe, have fun, and enjoy the ride. Let's go.
All right. So let's play this. Have you guys, by the way, in the chat, have you guys heard about Graham? Helen says Graham looks a bit like Pat Flynn.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, bring up
Really?
a picture of Pat Flynn. Pat Flynn's eyes are a little bit bigger and possibly more spaced out. But
yeah.
He looks like he could be like Pat Flynn's son for sure.
All right. So let's play this. Let's play the video and see what can we learn from his financial advice, Millionaire financial advice for 18 to 35 years old millennial money. I mean, we are millennials, right? I'm an old millennial,
Yes.
but
elder millennial. I saw your desktop. You have like it's full of icons, which
oh yeah,
that's more of a boomer trait.
And I'm using Skype as well, and you keep calling me boomer because I'm using Skype.
I wouldn't have Skype. It just comes with Windows.
Oh right. Let's see what Graham says.
What's up, you guys? It's Graham here. So for those who have not seen my second channel, The Graham Stephan Show, I regularly review a series by CNBC which covers the common, everyday financial habits and financial mistakes of millennials.
Yeah.
That's where Amelia Gardner got her.
I think so.
Either she copied his thumbnails or he
Copycat.
Yeah.
But hey, that means that it's working, right? So good on you, Amelia.
Yeah, I mean, come on. How can you really make a new thumbnail? Everything's just recycled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like everything, it's recycled nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's see what he says.
Which is appropriately called, wait for it, millennial money. And for those who are already familiar with the series and my reviews, you understand that I've poured hours of my time reviewing and sifting through each and every episode and critiquing them.
Hey, I think that pays off, right? To spend so many hours and then get millions of views and thousands of dollars, right?
Yes.
I guess that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, yeah. What's with his? Why is he with a dinosaur next to him?
I have no idea why he's using that, but maybe because that's the reason. So can catch your attention, right? And maybe make you stay on his videos or something.
Yeah.
And then giving my unsolicited investing advice on how people could better optimize their spending and build up their net worth. And it's really from those videos that I was able to create this one, which is really meant to be more like a millennial money guide of the most common financial mistakes that millennials are making, how to...
Let's see. The mistakes that we're making, the millennials.
to avoid them, and then also how to build up your net worth. Which all starts, by the way, with smashing the like button for the YouTube
Of course.
algorithm. Don't worry, I'm not
By
going
the
to
way,
ask a bajillion times.
Thank you, guys.
All
Thanks,
right.
Graham. Smash that like button.
I already did it.
Thank you.
In this video, I know some people are getting upset now, but I'm just going to mention it once in the very beginning, and if you do it, great, thank you. But anyway, with that said, here's my millennial money guide to finances, and it all begins with this. Now let's start with one of the most common and obvious mistakes that I see throughout all of the money videos,
Adrian.
both
Uh-huh.
This might be a good time. Do you have, just to set the theme for the video, do you have like what are millennial financial plans? What makes it different from boomers?
I'm not a boomer, even though you call me a boomer. But the only thing I know is that you and we're not millionaires, millennials, right? So I think that maybe by watching Graham's video and take some advice, maybe we can apply that and see if that works for us as well. What do you think?
Yeah, that's true. I was curious as to like what his premise was for what makes, like, what's so different there, because I would think there's unique challenges for millennials because, like, my in-laws who are boomers, father-in-law was able to sell his like second-hand car in order to get a down payment for a house, and that just could never even happen, even with price like rising. That would never happen today.
I think there was some chat about why the millennials are a little bit worse than the boomers, for example, in the financial space, if you want. And apparently, when the millennial era started, right, 1984, more or less, there was the market was not in a good situation. So people who born in that area, in those years, when they got to the age, for example, to go to work and get a job and make money and all that, the opportunities were not there.
Sure.
Sure. So I mean, I can remember back in my country, through all my years there, I left like when I was 18. There was no opportunity anyway, so it doesn't matter it doesn't matter when it was, but there was no opportunity.
And chat is having a discussion around different what our generations considered. I think it's more of just like a meme or an idea now. So people are even less concerned with like looking at, well, on the internet at least, looking at like, oh, between this decade and this year, this is what a boomer is. It's more of just like, oh, that's such a boomer thing to say. Or so I'm not even sure, Sue, if Gen X is considered boomers.
No idea.
Yeah.
I haven't read about it. I think Gen X comes after millennials. And I have no idea what that means. I mean, I need to cultivate myself a little bit more.
Well, that's what we're here to do.
Let's go. Let's see if we can learn the first advice he has.
Millennial money and money tours is that a very large percentage of them cannot afford their current lifestyle on their current income. Basically, it just means that they're spending way too much money. And honestly, it's very easy to see why this is happening. You know, financial literacy is not something that's really taught in schools. So a lot of people just enter.
Who agree with that?
Yeah, but I think his reasoning for that is so far is too simplistic. So he says, because financial literacy isn't taught. I think the issue, I would agree. I see that, like, I know a lot of people my age or around that who live way beyond their means, in all sorts of ways. And yeah, there's more than just being, I don't think that's really a financial literacy thing. That's a whole bunch of things to do with like culture and everything.
Gotcha. I think you have to do as well with whatever you learn at home as well. You know, maybe like you said, a little bit of the culture of the family, of the country or whatever. But that's one thing for sure, that school never taught me anything that was useful except reading and do some, you know, basic math like 2 + 2. That's all I took from school.
Oh my gosh.
The adult world just expected to figure it out as they go along, and by doing so, they're obviously going to have a lot of mistakes along the way. If people aren't taught to budget, to track their spending, to invest, and to think long term, then it's no wonder why we see people spending $71 on Sprinkles cupcakes, making $15,000 a year in New York City. Until eventually it just reaches the tipping point where they realize that that spending is not sustainable. And from that, they either just make drastic lifestyle changes way too late, or they just accept that they'll never be ahead financially, which is not going to happen on my watch. That's why my number one.
To be honest, I do agree with spending more than you make, and I'm not sure if this is just for the millennials, but I do know that that's probably why I'm where I am today, because of the stupid mistakes and stupid decisions I took in my teenage years, and instead of doing what Graham did, like saving money, thinking about investing and all that, I was just buying, like I made a video about the car, buying a luxury car, 20,000 euros, and, brand clothes, and I was just spending like an idiot. I never had that money, but I think he calls this the inflation lifestyle.
Yeah, I think that would be like one of the biggest issues why people start to fall down. Or like not get to their financial goals. Yeah.
Dougie says here in the chat that financial literacy is not taught in the public school system. He's correct. He's 100% correct. I mean, I know that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of things aren't taught.
Yeah. A lot of things that they're not useful for life at all. Like 95%, I would just throw it in the bin. But we're gonna make another live stream about school and why I just didn't like school, why I hate school. Sue says as well, yeah, I guess boomers is more a term now for someone sounding old instead of the actual generation baby boomers. Yeah, I think that every time you mention boomer, it has a bad connotation to it, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, look at this old mentality boomer or whatever.
Yeah, it's all like, it's like how like different nations like during sports events like to like trash talk each other, because you'll have like older generations who's like they don't understand the crazy new young generation and why they're doing this or that, and it's not like the way things used to be. But then you have the younger generation saying, well, you have no idea what it's like to grow up in this generation, and then they're just, that's where you get that meme of okay boomer.
Okay boomer.
Yeah. So I'll try to say that at one point during this after you say something.
whatever boomer.
Yeah.
Sue says in the chat, no Sue, it was Michelle. Thanks Michelle for being here as well. Dougie as well. Both my nieces have $1.5 million home loans, both under 30, and we're not married. That's awesome.
$1.5 million home loans.
Yeah, but depends how they're gonna use that loan and what they're gonna do with the money.
And Helen's niece has a 50K study loan. That's pretty normal.
Yeah, that's standard.
Well, 50 euros. That's what, euros? Yeah. That's
Yeah.
getting pretty close to, yeah, like your average US debt. Canada's a lot cheaper. Canada, like, it's like common in like, I think the US, like a year of university is 50 to 100 grand. Just tuition in Canada is like under 10.
Yeah. Let me play again, Graham, and see what he says.
One piece of advice for anyone between the ages of 18 and 35 is just to spend less money than you make. I know this one might...
I guess that advice is for anybody, right? For anybody. If you don't make the money, don't spend more than you make. That's just basic. That I didn't. It's not that I didn't knew. It's just that I didn't get into my into my mind until recently. And like I always like to say, I'm ashamed of that. But hey, learning.
Yeah, it's a little too simplistic though, because that most people would know that. It's kind of like those feel-good therapy quotes of just try to stay positive. It's like, yeah, obviously same with losing weight. Eat less
calories, right?
Yeah, but then you recognize, oh, there's this whole like subconscious problem going on. Why am I spending more?
Exactly.
Than what I make? Yeah, usually they're trying to fill some sort of hole.
That's true.
Sound common sense to you and I.
Oh, sorry.
But believe me, it's not common sense to most people out there, especially when you consider that 40% of Americans don't have enough in savings to cover a $1,000 emergency. So the easiest way to get out of that trap is to cut back on your spending and get rid of any discretionary expenses that you might have. Also, websites like mint.com and personalcapital.com are completely free and incredibly easy to use, and believe me, trust me when I say this, the hardest part about doing all of this is just starting to turn this into a habit and a routine. But once you start doing this, the benefits are going to become monumental. You're going to have extra money left over at the end of every single week, and you're going to have disposable income left over that you can now go and invest with. This step is really just about seeing the long term and realizing the opportunity that you have right now to begin investing as soon as possible. These are really your...
Yeah, like you said, I think this point is kind of obvious, and he said like that as well. It's kind of obvious, but I think that if you spend more and then you save the money, or you at least have the mentality to invest that money that you save into something, then I think you're gonna be in a good position.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure how many, especially in America, I'm not sure how many people are actually in a position to be able to save. Well, I guess he would still argue that you could always do with less. But I mean, there's always the story of entrepreneurs who are like taking massive risks. They're like for 2 years going into deeper and deeper debt, and all that's necessary in order to get to where they're trying to build towards.
But you know what? It is something that we have to learn a little bit more about this, because having debt is not a bad thing. I always thought about that it's bad. That like, you probably heard, if you're a fan of Robert Kiyosaki and his books and all that, there's two ways of debt. There's two types of debt, right? It's a good debt and bad debt. The bad debt is that one that you go like I did 10 years ago, and I went to the bank, asked 20,000 euros, and went and I bought a car. That's stupid. That's bad debt.
Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
Now, if you go and take 20,000 euros like I did now, 10 years later, and I use that money to buy a property, to give a deposit, now that's a good debt. Because once right?
We just bought our first house, so technically we're in a lot of debt. But there's things happening where we bought the house, there's a GO station or a train station going to one of the major cities close by. So in a few years, there'll be an increase in demand for that property because it's really close to that newly developed train station. So
that's awesome. So you bought that when you guys bought that property?
March in the beginning. Dude, this is the most stressful year of my freaking life.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, baby. Well done. Well done on that.
And you know what? I couldn't have done it without following the tips and advice on Hasta La Vista bosses.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, look, Dougie says in the chat as well, bad debt is a car payment, good is investment properties. Exactly, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've been fortunate for my like attitude towards things because I've never been very materialistic. So I don't really care about like brand name stuff. I don't even think about the kind of car that I drive or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, there's very little that I actually want to spend money on.
Hey, there's
Maybe I'm just boring.
a nomad overseas is in the chat and he says super chat 50 euros. Hey,
Whoa.
yay!
Whoa, we
Hey,
never talked about this before going into this.
what's going on here? Hey, thanks for that.
Oh, I just see. Actually, Nomad privately messaged me. He wanted that money to go direct. He got a mortgage.
Mortgage, yeah. Hey, he has a cheap mortgage, by the way. But thanks for the super chat, a nomad overseas. He says just a way to say thank you for the opportunity to enter competition for Morton's course. Buy yourself some Christmas drinks and enjoy it. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Hey, Helen's even modding over here, just like she does with Alex.
By the way, guys, I can't see the chat on YouTube. I can see whatever comes on my screen. So if I don't see a question or a comment, I apologize. It's just the way it's set up now, the stream, I can't see the chat. So I apologize for that, but I'll improve it. This is already a huge improvement. You can ask Fix how hard I worked on this setup.
Oh my God. Yeah.
All right, let's see what Graham says.
And one of the tricks I often do when it comes to spending and saving money is I just think to myself, if I don't go and buy something, it's like I almost got paid not to buy it. Like for instance, because I didn't go out and spend $10 on a hamburger on my drive home from work, I just saved $10, which is kind of like I got paid an extra $10 not to spend it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it kind of complicated a little bit, but I get his idea. It's just decorates it too much.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's a lot of people probably need that though. It's like a wake up call. Like, most of what you're spending your money on, you don't actually need.
Yeah, I think
it's not going to make you happy either.
Yeah. Maybe it's a psychological trick that he's using to kind of, get into the mood of saving and say, hey, if I don't do this, I pay myself another $10 or whatever, Maybe that's what it is. Helen says a burger costs $10. Glad I don't eat burgers.
It's an LA burger.
Yeah, that's an LA burger. Righty. Let's carry on with this.
This way your brain almost starts to rewire itself and reward you for not spending money because you act as though that is just money you got paid.
Right, this is kind of what I was saying, right? To rebrain yourself or, force yourself to think that you got paid a little bit more and then say, oh, yes, I'm good at this.
Not to spend. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me know if that hopefully makes sense. Now, given that statistic about 40% of Americans not being able to afford a $1,000 emergency, that has been fairly consistent among all the money-related videos that I've seen where the subjects of the videos have gotten themselves into horrible credit card or student loan debt. I've seen everything from tens of thousands of dollars in outstanding credit card bills to egregious student loan balances and otherwise just a lack of consideration for trying to pay those down as soon as possible. And here's the thing, I really believe that having any amount of unpaid consumer debt will grossly hinder your ability to build wealth in the future. It's almost as though you're borrowing from tomorrow and the day after to go and pay for today, if that makes sense. So if at all possible, avoid consumer debt at all costs. Use it only as a last case resort if something terrible happens and you need it to put food on the table or there's just no other option to turn to except for a credit card. But do not make that as...
Well, that's what another mistake that I did on my first property investment. Let's say it wasn't necessarily a mistake because like we said earlier in like Doggy or Dodgy, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, but if I use those credit cards to buy, let's say to buy material to do the refurbishment for the property, then that was good debt, right? But then I started to use the credit cards for other stupid things. What, you laughing because I was about to swear, huh? But hey, I've seen other live streams, they swearing and it's all fine. I don't know what's going on, but maybe
I wouldn't worry about it.
maybe I'm too small. Maybe you need to be a little bit bigger.
I don't know. Do you really have many videos that aren't monetized because of swearing?
Not really.
Yeah.
There's one that what I said, the one that would get shit done, and when you go behind the scenes, it says that it's limited. When monetization,
Yeah.
it's limited because of swearing and probably because of the title and the tags. But I don't care. At the moment, I just want to make videos. I don't care necessarily about
you
them.
know about the whole the Logan Paul thing, Jake Paul. I don't know who's who. They went to that suicide forest. That was on YouTube.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
He still got million. Yeah. So people get a little too worried. I mean, it depends what you want to be. Do you want to be like a super family friendly PG? Hey guys, what's going on?
Hello, kids. Today we're gonna watch something.
But in response to the video part, I definitely see millennials my age who they go into consumer debt, and I think there's a weird sort of it's definitely like a Western culture type thing. I'm sure it exists a lot of places, but I think a lot of people seem to think certain privileges that they have are actually like rights for them. So like people think it's a right for them to have like lavish vacations at least once or twice a year and just like things like that. And you kind of get used to this like certain kind of like celebrity, or people get used to like a celebrity type lifestyle.
Oh yeah. I know what you mean. But that's all over Instagram. And that's why so many fake gurus on Instagram, because people are attracted to this kind of lifestyle. And you know, as soon as you show the watches and you show the the money gun, as soon as you show the dinero, right? Hey, do you want to know how I make this money? This is by listening to Graham advice. Look at this amount of money here. More and more dollars. $50,000. I'm rich. Let me quickly go to the chat. There was something interesting here that says, Sue says, my mistake for the first 10 years of my adult life was staying away completely from any form of debt. Then when I needed to borrow, my credit score was non-existent. And that's really a mistake, Sue, that I didn't know about. Surprise, surprise. I didn't know about that mistake until, again, I was 30 plus. But because I was a little bit reckless with the money and how I used the money, I ended up building some credit score without any intention, because I was having credits, I was using credit cards, even though I was using them in a bad way. I built that credit score. But now I would love to make some videos about this, how millennials or the next generation behind us can how do you say, fix, not repeat the same mistakes.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And help by sharing my mistakes and how I did recover my credit score, how I have like 7 or 10 or 15 credit cards at the moment, and I'm using all of them. People are afraid of credit. I don't know why. And modern day credit scoring sucks. It's an algorithm, and we have to learn, just like Google, we have to learn how to get to the top of that algorithm. You know what I mean?
The yin and the yang of debt is real.
Yeah, bruv. Let's see what
A substitute
Graham
for
says.
I can't afford eating out with my friends every single night at Nobu and Malibu, so I'm just gonna go and put it on my credit card so I can worry about it later.
The proper way to handle debt is really just as simple as this. It's okay and even encouraged to use credit cards for your normal everyday spending to then rack up the points, get cash back, get free stuff, and build your credit score. That's cool, but under no circumstances should you ever carry an unpaid balance and pay any amount of interest on the credit card.
Yeah, like kind of what I did. And now I'm crazy to finish some of those credit cards, to pay them off and start using them with this new knowledge that I have, which is the correct way to do it. You know, use like every time I go to the store, you can use the credit card, but you have to make sure that it's you put it on direct debit, and at every end of the month or beginning of the month, whatever is your direct debit, you make sure you pay it in full, so you don't pay the interest. Do you?
I can't even think of the last time I paid interest. A credit card has always been just a way to buy things online for me.
All right.
And then like the more adult I became, I started using it in like stores. Now I use it for everything. But I honestly, it's very rare that I carry it for it.
Cool. Leona is here as well in the live chat. Hello, Leona. How's it going? Welcome. And she says the yin and yang of debt is real. For sure. You really have to keep a balance. You just have to be educated in these things. I wasn't, like I said, school never taught me about any of these things. Mom, dad never taught me about these things. And my friends were not that kind of friends. are those kind of friends that are gonna pull you down. If you know what I mean. Helen says in the chat that these days in the UK you need a credit card balance, a bank loan, and overdraft to have a credit score. Yes, I think it's been like this for many years, right, Helen? I mean, I've been in the UK only for 10 years, I guess, 9 or 10 years. But I believe this is always was the case. And it says, Helen says, it kills me, but I'm not paying their interest charges. You just have to be smart and not, pay it in full. Commit says, hey, Commit, what's up? I didn't see you here. Hey, guys. Chris Nish Safari says, still don't even know how to get my first credit card. I make a decent living, but none will accept me because I never had credit history. I tell you where to start. Get one of those Aqua credit cards, or look for the Apple card or one of those. They're not necessarily credit cards, but you can put money on them and then start using them. And as you use them and you pay them, that's going to build your score. All right, let me see what Graham has to say.
Always just pay it off in full by the time it's due with money you already have in your bank account. It's also okay and even encouraged to use debt as a way to maximize your return on leveraged income-producing assets. Like having a mortgage on a rental property could be a good thing. Going and getting a low interest rate loan so you could just not tie up your money and invest your money elsewhere at a higher return is a good thing. But the big differentiation here is that if the debt isn't helping you make more money, don't do it.
Boom. That's a knowledge bomb right there. There you go, another one.
And avoid it. And if you happen to find...
Say again?
Chat, let us know. I was telling Adrian that sounds a little too much like a dragon in like a cave. So we need a new knowledge bomb. I feel like an idea light going off, like ding.
Well, I need to find some more sound effects then. Anomad Overseas says, yeah, I normally have all my bills set to get paid at the end of the month, start of the month, whatever you're left with after. I lost the chat, so I'm sorry, but I can't read the rest of the question. Or the comment, sorry. Let's play Graham again and see what else we have.
Yourself in any sort of bad debt, whether it be credit card debt, student loan debt, or any sort of personal loan, make it your new priority to pay off that loan as soon as you possibly can. Take on a second job, work overtime, cut back on all of your expenses, don't go out to Nobu and Malibu with your...
Bro, you're talking to millennials. How the hell do you think they're gonna get a second job if they can't get a first job? Right?
Yeah, they're gonna have to go back to school for that second
oh,
job.
Lord. Well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little, I don't know. I think I'm struggling to accept or like understand like how this could absolutely apply to everybody. I think there's like sort of, he makes the assumption that everyone can just have these sort of characteristics. Like he's a very particular kind of person.
He is,
just
definitely
makes sense to him.
Definitely, yeah.
It's like me, like with like, here's a good example. Like with food, I really don't care about food that much. I would prefer not to ever eat. I would prefer to take a pill instead of eating food, and so I never had to take the time to eat food. So somebody who really loves food, like that will never change for me, and that person will never be able to understand like that. Likewise, I can't understand like, caring. So like this idea that like people can just learn to, I mean, people can certainly strive more to live without things, but
Yeah.
it's a little too simplistic.
No, I'm sure that his advice is not going to be for everybody. Like many of the things that he says, I cannot apply to myself or not completely. For example, he's a very frugal person. And I agree with that. You have to be frugal in order to get ahead of life in general. Because if you don't, stretch the belt and not stretch the, but how do you say, just don't spend that much money. Start building some like a side hustle like we're doing here. Everybody here in the chat, in the audience, we're trying to build some side hustle and make it profitable and quit our jobs. But for you to do that, you need to sacrifice. You need to, make some sacrifices, not to go out with your friends as much, not to spend, buy clothes every month. Don't eat out.
Except
hasta la vista, boss. There you go.
Redbubble.
At Redbubble. You can find the link in the description. Thanks for the plug, buddy. There was some conversation here in the chat. Like I said, guys, I really apologize because if you see the comments fixed, please read it for us because
I got the full chat here. We got Michelle talking about her other half got sucked into living on credit card and open lines of credit. All your cash goes into, supposedly you end up better off financially. I can't tell if the last part's sarcastic. Yeah, that does happen.
By the way, thanks for being here, Kono, Craig. There's another there's someone in Twitch. I don't know who is in Twitch. Want to become famous? Buy followers. Is that a spammer or what? It might be.
I don't see it. Is this in Twitch?
Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, no, those are just like view bots and stuff. Yeah, Twitch is bad for that.
All right. So there you go.
You'll get a lot of whispers too, like direct messages.
Right. That's crazy. Anyway, let's play the video again.
Your friends, just get those loans paid off. Having that type of consumer debt could really be one of those things that's as if you're walking around with a ball and chain. That debt is just going to be constantly holding you back and pulling you down at a time where you should really be prioritizing building your wealth and investing as much money as possible. Now, the third mistake that I've seen between pretty much every money series and something that for the most part all of us are guilty of on some level or another is getting accustomed to lifestyle inflation. This is the practice in which we start making a little bit more money each and every month, and then from there we start spending a little bit more money each and every month. Maybe we just get a slightly nicer apartment or drive a slightly nicer car or start going out to slightly nicer places. Now, the issue isn't so much doing this every now and then as a special treat, but instead doing it so often so that it now becomes your new baseline level of spending and what you consider normal. And once you become accustomed to that new threshold, it just becomes exceedingly difficult to ever go down from there. The biggest issue that I've seen is that people just get used to spending all the money that they have, so that anytime they have
have you experienced this fix? So when I came here in the UK, I was of course starting from zero. I didn't know English. I barely knew how to speak English. So of course the jobs available for me were the crappy ones, right? Cleaning and those that you don't really have to speak too much English, then just go and get the broom and clean here. And then, of course, after, because I'm an ambitious person, I said, well, I don't want to be cleaning. There's nothing wrong with that. I actually love the job, but I want to improve myself. I want to improve my lifestyle, my family's lifestyle, and everything. So, I got promoted to supervisor. Then they wanted to make me a manager. Then I got bored of the job. I said, you know what? I want something else. I went to the kitchen. Again, I went all the way up to a head chef. Then I got bored. I said, okay, let me go in construction. Start from zero again. Laborer, forklift, and then now I'm doing a crane. And I always went up. But every time I went up, and I get more money, of course, I did exactly what Graham says here. I was going to my family to the restaurants. We were having these nice Lebanese barbecues and this and that. You know, life was so good. But then something, started to go down. I can't remember what it was. I've been at home. The job started to be a little bit irregular.
Yeah.
And then I realized, what the hell happened? Where's the money? Have you experienced that?
I was a student for so long. You know, I could have been a lot smarter. So, yeah, I would get like certain grants and things like that for being a student, and like for various other reasons, like bursaries and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I never, so I kind of did that. So I remember, yeah, it was like a decade ago, when I was I went to like a community college first. Yeah, it was just like I would have all this extra money because the school was giving me way more than I even needed, and yeah, I would like eat out for sushi lunches all the time because you'd go for like all you can eat sushi lunches. So I wasn't really, yeah, I could have saved a lot more money back then.
Right.
Even though I was in school, I still had a lot of opportunity. Yeah, I would do things like eat out all the time, stuff like that.
Cool. All right, let's play again.
Any extra money left over in their bank account. It's almost as though they don't know what to do with it, so they just go and spend it. So really, the only way to fight this is to first acknowledge that lifestyle inflation is unavoidable. It's going to happen to all of us, and it's really important to work with it rather than just not acknowledge that it exists or think it doesn't apply to us. And the easiest way to begin working with this is by paying yourself first. Every single paycheck before you spend any amount of money, put a set amount aside that you do not touch under any circumstances for any reason whatsoever. Just pretend that
How many of you are doing this? Are you doing this, Figs? People in the chat, guys in the chat. Are you doing this?
No, it's too, especially not now.
Yeah.
It's a little too simplistic again.
No, the thing
People
is, I
struggle.
started to do this, to be honest. So, you of course you go to your app on your bank application, and you can set up every Friday. I get paid every Friday, so every Friday before I looked into my account to see if I received the money, there was a direct debit to my other account, to my saving account. I was doing like every £100 per week, but this was before I had the baby girl. And then things started to change a little bit. Of course, the family is bigger. You know, the bills are a little bit bigger now. More shopping, more stuff. But are you doing that?
We did that. That's how we were able to get the house. Yeah. So there's a few years there, where we both had stuff going straight from our paychecks into, I think it's the RRSP here for your first time home buying thing. And we adjusted our lifestyle quite a bit. Like we never did crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done like lavish vacations. Like we usually don't like going to like super fancy restaurants anyways.
No?
Things like that.
Okay.
People are saying that it's buffering, and I'm watching it on YouTube and it just started buffering for me.
Really? It says excellent connection.
Okay. It's back.
No, I said maybe I said to Helen in the chat, maybe just refresh.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, always refresh.
Always refresh and see what's going on there. Maybe it's just something
Little hiccup.
Yeah. And Sue says no fine here. Anomad Overseas says yeah, but I'm planning for about 10 years down the tracks. And I believe you saying that, answering my question, if you guys are putting any money, if you're saving any money, like every week or every month or whatever the case is.
We used to, not so much lately because of COVID. This isn't really the best time to begin saving.
Yeah. All right. let me play a little bit more of Graham. Let's see what
That money doesn't even exist before it even hits your account, and that way there's no chance of you ever spending it. I personally recommend setting aside at least 15 to 20% of your monthly paycheck each and every month.
That's
if
a
you're
bit a
able to
lot,
save
isn't it?
more than that, then by all means.
That's a little bit a lot.
Yeah, Helen, you gotta up that. You're almost there, 50% of the way.
Exactly. But the thing is, you see, his advice is if you are, he doesn't have kids, he has a girlfriend, so life, you can be a little bit more aggressive on your savings when you are in that situation.
Yeah. And most people should be, so that's probably a good point. Yeah, that's like when there was a long period of time where I could have been a lot more aggressive with saving. I would have had a better nest for when we did buy the house, as opposed to my brother-in-law. He did that, like all his jobs and throughout high school and university, he was saving stuff, and they were able to buy a house pretty soon after they finished their undergrad. And because of the housing market, like it grew so much in a few years, they were able to make a bunch of money and move into an even bigger house once they had kids. So that was like a really smart way to go. But the only thing with that, those people are usually really boring. That's their only story. Yeah, I worked hard and saved a bunch of money.
Ephraim, welcome Ephraim, how's it going? I remember when Chase got started back then. I'm not sure if you're talking about Chase the bank or but anyway,
Chase Reiner.
Oh, Chase Reiner, maybe. Yeah, Chase. Chase. I tried to get Chase on the show, but he doesn't answer. He's a busy man. Anyway, let's see what Graham has to say.
That will just make me even happier. But just get in the habit of starting to do this consistently to prevent yourself from spending any excess money that you might have. Ramsey, get down. Now, when it comes to that, another concern I see is that a lot of the millennials featured in these videos do not have any sort of emergency fund at all. In fact, sometimes it seems as though their only emergency fund is just a credit card, which, like I said, ends up costing you significantly more than you ever need to spend if you don't have the money to pay it off immediately. Now, for those that don't know, an emergency
before he goes into what the emergency fund is, I had an emergency fund.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing. To be honest, it was
happened
for sure. And look at this now. Look at this situation that we are in today, with the corona virus, right?
Yeah.
And the pandemic and all this crap. When this started in March, I had to stay at home 3 months. That's why everything plateaued for me in my online journey as well, because I don't have more money to put into this, because all my savings, all this emergency fund lost it. I just lost that money because I didn't work, and as a self-employed, if you don't work, you don't get paid. It's as simple as that. And then 3 months at home, that's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah. And now there's no emergency fund, so we have to build that again. So I think that it's a pretty good, solid advice here, because otherwise I would have been in some troubles. That's for sure.
Yeah. My only, what I just want to point out, my biggest frustration with like self-help feel-good tips like this is like it completely ignores the fact that, and most of us play a role in this if you run ads on your site. People, like, we live in like in a space where there are billions and billions and billions of dollars being spent to try and get us to spend money on certain things, and to just say it's like it all comes down to this, like we just have this like free choice and we're just choosing to waste our money, is a little too silly. I think it takes a certain kind of person to really like put that out of sight and out of mind and not be affected by it. Sure
thing, bro.
I'm getting too philosophical, sorry.
That's cool. Hey, this is awesome. I hope someone will get some value out of this, because I enjoy it very much to talk about these topics. They're topics that I should have learned many years ago, and now I'm just like a kid with a toy. I'm discovering these things, and I feel like I just discovered the fire or something. All right, let's play this quickly.
Emergency fund is basically money you set aside to only be used in the event of an emergency where you otherwise have no other option to turn to. Ideally, the amount in this emergency fund should be equal to 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses and kept easily accessible for emergencies. And remember, when it comes to this, an emergency fund is not money that you set aside just to frivolously spend as you want to. It's not money that you set aside to go and invest with. It's just money that you have at your disposal in case hits the fan and you need something on short notice. Like if you lose a job, you need to pay rent, you need to pay for food, your car breaks down, or anything like this. You got your money there already. And the reason you shouldn't be investing this money is because on short notice, your investments might be falling at a time where maybe you need it the most. Like for instance, let's say a recession happens and stocks drop 30% in price, and then all of a sudden you lose your job and you need your emergency fund, so you start selling off your stocks after they've already dropped 30% in price, when chances are you shouldn't really be selling those stocks. Instead, you should always aim to keep your emergency fund in a high interest savings account where it's safe and where you're guaranteed to get a return on your money, even if that just means you're keeping pace with inflation. You could go and use...
I want to quickly answer Leona question, and she says, what is considered an emergency? I don't know if Graham is going to mention this, because remember, we don't watch these videos. We just react to them on the fly. But an emergency could be like if you have a car, it broke down, like my car broke down at the beginning of the year as well, just to complete 2020, right? Just to be a complete year. So the clutch broke down and the gearbox. And the gearbox alone was 700 pounds. The clutch was another 200, 300, 400 pounds. So that could be a massive emergency. So what I did, I just sold the car and I bought another one. That could be one of the emergencies. And Anomad Overseas says as well here, as I mentioned earlier, check out Revolut. It lets you set up Vault to put regular payments into even if you only £1 a day. That's awesome. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
I think this is solid advice. Like for most people where we're living, they could have built up over years a good safety emergency fund. Like, you know what I mean? They don't need to spend $200 on their like cable and phone every month. They don't need to eat out as much as they do. So I feel like a lot of people could have had an emergency fund for like 6 months, and it would have made the corona a lot less, people would have panicked a lot less. It would have been a lot easier on people. Because you might have lost your job. It's like, well, I've got 6 months to try and at least get back on track.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's play Graham.
Ally Bank, which pays you 1.9% in interest. You can go and use Wealthfront, which pays you 2.32% in interest, or a myriad of other options out there that you have to choose from. Just do me one favor and make sure you get at least 1.9% in interest on a high interest savings account, so that way you can make the biggest use of your money. Now, given all of those previous mistakes, here's a bit of a backwards mistake that some people just tend to fall into, because they end up too careful with money, and from that, they don't end up getting a credit card. It's okay to err on the side of caution and make sure you don't go into debt and only spend money that you have available in your account. That is all good. But I've also seen that there's very much an extreme of that situation as well. Those are the people who always pay with cash or debit. They don't have any credit cards, and because of that, they don't have any credit score. And
I think someone was saying this in the chat earlier, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember who was it, but maybe let's see if this is applied for you.
In my opinion, that could be just as equally detrimental as the type of person who can't control their credit card spending. Like, not getting a credit card because you're afraid of getting into debt is a lot like carrying around a fire extinguisher everywhere, just expecting, what if there's maybe a fire and I need to use this? Getting a credit card and learning how to...
Yeah, that was funny. It's true. I've talked to many people about credit cards, and everybody, even here, Paulina, if you're watching, she's one of the girls that is sharing here the flat with us. I've helped her look into some credit cards, but many months ago when I talked about this topic with her, she was afraid to get a credit card because she thinks that she can't control the spendings.
Yeah.
You know, but if you just have to learn how to use it, you know, because many people think, oh, I have this 2,000 pounds credit card. Remember, that's not your money. You just have to remember that's not your money and use it wisely.
To handle that responsibly is such an incredibly important part of your financial future. Not only will a credit card provide you with purchase protection, rewards, and cash back on pretty much all of your purchases, but you're also going to be continually improving your credit score, which will give you the best and lowest rates anytime you decide to get a mortgage, to finance a car, to rent an apartment, or to pretty much do anything that involves running your credit score. And a very large part of your credit profile is built up from what's called the length of your credit history. So all things being equal, the person who's had a credit card for 10 years is going to have a significantly higher score than the other person who's just had a credit card for 1 year. And doing all of this is incredibly easy. If you don't have a credit card already, just go and open up a secured credit card. I recommend the Discover It Secured card. Go and put a few small expenses.
By the way, this is for USA. I don't know.
Is that in his link? Is that in his link? Is he an affiliate?
He might be. He might be. But hey, if that pays well, I'm gonna be affiliate as well, right? But the
would
thing.
You be in a, would you recommend an even better card if there wasn't an affiliate program?
Well, I'm sure that all of them have.
Okay,
Actually, I was thinking to get into some of that myself, but nah, there's not enough time for me. but as I'm gonna talk about other things on the YouTube channel, like financial stuff, I'll probably get some of these programs that I personally use. Like I said, I have at least 9 credit cards that I know about that are in my wallet.
That you know about? What do you mean that you know about?
Yeah, I'm sure that I have more than
floating around there.
Sure. I mean, now I remember I have PayPal as well, credit card, but that's not a credit card. It's just like a virtual credit card or whatever it's called. But yeah, let's play again.
On it every single month, and then just go and pay it off in full by the time it's due. Just continue doing that, and then every 6 to 8 months go and get another credit card, preferably one with no annual fee, and just go and do the exact same thing with that one. Over time, you're going to develop a really great credit score that's going to give you the best and lowest rates on pretty much anything you'd ever want to finance, which again just ends up saving you more money. And if you're still confused with all of this, by the way, I'm going to link to a video that I did a while ago down below in the description that'll teach you exactly how to build your credit score in like under 20 minutes. Now, another one of the mistakes that I see in those
I'll link this in the chat, not in the chat, sorry, in the description, so you can guys go to this original video, and that original video is gonna have that other video that Graham just mentioned. Maybe you want to check it out.
Millennial Money episodes is that very few of those people are taking advantage of their retirement accounts or investing, and from the way I see it, this is a huge missed opportunity with pretty much nothing but upside. For example, the best time to contribute to a Roth IRA is when you're young and when you're not in a high tax bracket. That's because you're already in a low tax bracket and not losing a lot of money to taxes, and you have more time for your money to grow into something much bigger. And with a Roth IRA, all the profit within that account becomes completely tax-free after the age of 59 and a half. Or another one, you could use a 401k, which would help reduce your taxable income now and postpone it until retirement. Not to mention that a lot of employers will match your contribution dollar for dollar up to a certain amount. That's pretty much just absolutely free money that so many people are just not claiming, and by doing so, they're leaving a lot of free money on the table just by not knowing about this. So I highly recommend going for these.
I don't know. I haven't been employed too many times, so I don't know this. Again, Roth IRA is only for US, to my knowledge. Is this available in the UK, in Canada as well, Fix?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no,
okay.
I've never heard of it.
No idea about this.
Yeah.
These retirement accounts, always make it a priority to contribute up to the employer match, max out the Roth IRA, take advantage of everything at your disposal, and do it consistently. Remember how I mentioned early in the video about paying yourself first? Well, this is perfect. Pay yourself first into some of these retirement accounts. Likewise, with this, Vanguard conducted a survey and found that 1 in 5 millennials owned no stocks whatsoever. And I mean, some of that makes sense because we've seen the aftermath
is because we don't know about these things. You know, no one teach us how to do it.
Yeah, no, we gotta go on YouTube to figure it out.
Yeah. So there's
And you're gonna end up probably wasting a bunch of money before you get to any good advice.
for sure. But I guess that's with all the I guess this is with all investments that you're gonna want to go into. If you don't know anything about it, be prepared to spend some money at the beginning. Spend or waste or whatever you want to call it. Because it might not work. Chances are it might not work, first time you try it. Let's see what he says now.
Of the 2008 financial crisis, and I think a lot of people are just scared to have that happen again and to lose money. But that doesn't mean that stocks are inherently bad or risky at all. By investing younger, you're just able to weather those storms and come out ahead much more than you could if you were investing in stocks, let's say, right before retirement. And finally, from all the advice in this video, this is the one that I feel like is the most important. You should use your 20s as a time that you could just work your off, save as much money as you can, and use all of that to get ahead. Now is the time to absolutely pursue any career aspirations you might have, to work harder than you ever thought was possible, and to save more money than you ever thought was imaginable. Because trust me,
What do you think about this?
It's all good tips. I don't know of many people that would fall into that, especially when so many people are still like your average person, not average, but so many people are like starting their 20s off with like you saw in chat, $50,000 zeros of debt
Already, yeah.
They've grown up their whole life being told you should go to school, go to school.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then there's another idea that I had about a live stream to talk about, school or trainings or courses, where you pay 50,000 or even more on school, and then you finish that school and you don't have a job that you thought you're gonna get when you finish the school, and then people are saying, oh, don't buy a course, because they're not gonna be successful. Well, school doesn't make you necessarily successful either, but hey, that's just because I don't like school. All right, that's my opinion.
Well, and the other thing is, like, schools are no longer like the golden gatekeepers of information. So everything that could be learned in school can be learned online. It's more of like a whole a standardized process to prove that you can read and write.
I know what overseas has in the chat. This dude sounds like he's trying to sell us some magic beans. Let me play. Let's see what else he has here for us.
as someone who did that throughout their entire 20s, I'm 29 years old now, and I've pretty much set myself up to never have to worry about this stuff ever again for the rest of my life because of what I did between the ages of 18 and basically now. And while sure, it's okay to relax and have fun every now and then, just stay disciplined, because the work that you put in right now and the money you save right now could be enough to carry you forward throughout the rest of your life. Because I'll tell you, from my experience, it just becomes more difficult as you get older. You're probably not going to have as much energy as you did back when you were 18. You're probably just going to start needing maybe just a little bit more sleep, and you're going to start wanting to try new and better things. And having that money invested and in the bank is going to give you the flexibility to pursue the things you really want to pursue while getting the heavy lifting out of the way early on. And also, during all of that, it's just as equally as important to focus on now starting to increase your income at the exact same time as you're focusing on decreasing your expenses and saving as much money as possible. And sometimes people...
Yeah, I agree with that. If I talking to the young and stupid Adrian, I would definitely give this advice, that all these tips, I think they're good for, youngsters who are just, starting their real life, 18 and plus. And this definitely is a good advice. Try to spend as little as possible and save the other money, and then learn how to invest it, learn where to put it. Like, God, I keep saying this to me and to everybody that I talk to. Why I didn't know about these things earlier? Because if I would have known about these things earlier, I would have been, I'm not going to say millionaire, but I would have been way ahead now. I would probably not been in construction, working 15 hours a day, There's a comment in the chat from a nomad overseas says, about a year ago, a news reporter in the US asked Elon Musk which college he'd recommend people to go to, and he said none. They're all scam, and the reporter didn't look happy. I mean, of course, she didn't, or he didn't look happy. You don't want such an influential person to say that kind of stuff. And we have maybe
just
2 more minutes to
save
go
enough
here.
money, and it's not a fault of budgeting or a lack of just frivolously spending. A lot of times these people just don't make enough money, and instead they need to focus on increasing their income rather than trying to scrimp and save as much as they possibly can while not earning a lot. That's why beyond a certain point it's worth it to start switching jobs if that means you could start making a little bit more money, or maybe learn new skills so that you could start increasing your income and working towards something that's potentially a little
For example, building websites like many of us would do here, right? Helen even says here in the chat, increase your income while decreasing your expenses. Which cloud does he live on? He lives on in LA, so I'm sure it's not easy to spend less, because it's probably as expensive as London. London is stupid expensive, everything here.
Oh yeah, there's like £5 for a coffee.
Yeah, it's just
You guys
stupid.
don't even have real coffee. It was just always espresso mixed with hot water.
Yeah. Well, I make my coffee at work, at home as well. Every now and then I go
We
out.
were traveling.
For sure. But you know, I was thinking about this at work actually today, and for the last few days actually. I was thinking about, because I keep hearing Meet Kevin and other guys, they're talking about this, and they say get a job or find a job or a skill that pays you by your results, not by your time. And I keep thinking to myself, what, I need to find a job like that. Because of course I'm making 18, 20, 25 pounds per hour driving a crane, but if I'm not there, or if I don't work 10 hours per day, I'm not gonna make any. You know what I mean? So I keep thinking about what kind of jobs are out there. If you guys in the chat know any of those jobs, give us an example. If you fix know about any of those jobs.
Wouldn't it be sales?
I think it's
based on
sales.
commission?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
It could be. But are there any out there? To be honest, the more I think about it, and the more I like look into property, and now that I'm, by the way, in 2 weeks we go to Spain. We're gonna have a live stream from Spain.
You see, that's what, you see, is that a necessary travel? Oh, I'm sorry, it might be actually.
It's a business. It's a business
Okay.
travel.
Okay.
There you go. So, I lost my point now. This is what happens when it's, you know, when you.
Oh, you're traveling to Spain. You're traveling to Spain, and
Oh yeah. Talking about the properties, right? Because I kind of get bugged by this, and I was thinking, maybe should I get a license in being a real estate agent here in London? I don't know. Maybe it's gonna, you know, sell a few properties per year, make $500,000 or something. You never know. But I guess I have to try that at one point.
a little bit more financially ambitious. And when it comes to investing, just keep it simple. A broad index fund is just one of the easiest, simplest, and safest ways to invest your money when you hold it long term. It's really as easy as just buying a target date retirement fund or just one simple broad index fund, continuing to buy more each month and just doing that over and over again. Or it could also be as simple as spending an hour a day on Bigger Pockets and YouTube, just learning how to invest in real estate and then going on weekends to check out open houses. And then by the time you have your down payment ready, you'll be able to invest in real estate and learn exactly how it's done. And if there's any piece of millennial money investing advice that I highly recommend, it's to really focus on cutting down your living expenses as much as you possibly can while you're young. Arguably, housing...
Well, you're young, and well, it doesn't matter the age, I guess. If you try to build a business like all of us we're trying here to do, you have to find ways to do these hacks. They're called The one is called house hacking. The other one is called rent hacking. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these terms, but basically, house hacking. Do you know what this is, Fix? House hacking?
No.
It's
Is this where you hack into people's like how people have
properties.
smart homes?
Exactly, yeah.
And you hack into that and start messing with everything, and then eventually blackmail them for a bunch of money.
No,
Because I'm very familiar with that.
I'm familiar with that, huh? Hey, be careful what you say. This live stream is gonna be all over the web.
Don't use your Alexa or Google Home, people.
And no, it's when you buy a property, or you buy a property as an investment. For example, the first one or the first two, if you want. The first property you buy, let's say it's a duplex. These are very popular in the US. You live in one of the units and you rent the other unit, and the tenant is going to pay, of course, for your mortgage and for your bills and for other kind of stuff. So you have a property and you are living there for free, basically. You know what I mean? And then in a year or 2 years time, you can find another deal and you can refinance that property and buy another one. And that's how you go up on the ladder. That's what we kind of trying to do with our property side hustle.
Yeah.
And below average blogger Mike, what's up, brother? Welcome to the chat. What's going on? There was a question here from a nomad overseas, and he was saying if people in UK, Canada use credit union much. I honestly think they are very underrated as a resource in recent years. Very helpful for those little unexpected urgencies. I don't use that. I never looked into it, so I don't know what that is. A nomad overseas. Let me play the...
is one of the biggest recurring monthly expenses that you're going to have. So figuring out how to reduce this while you're young is going to have the biggest impact going forward long term. And if you want my recommendation, even though I'm very biased because I do this myself, it's to look into house hacking. It's to go and try to find a multi-unit building that you can move into one of the units, and then you rent out the other units to cover your cost of ownership. Ideally, if you do this correctly, you should be able to live there for free while still getting to own a multifamily income producing real estate deal while also...
Thank you very much, Graham. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Now you just have to learn how to manage 3 apartments and the walls behind all of that and everything like that.
Well, first you need to buy them.
Easy.
First you need to buy them, right?
Oh yeah. Well, who doesn't? Who can't get approved for a $3 million loan?
Of course. I mean, this is just easy peasy, bruv.
Yeah, anybody in America could do that. Definitely.
also building equity at the same time by paying down the loan. And then eventually you should be able to go out and move into something else and maybe repeat the exact same thing. And then meanwhile, you're slowly building up a portfolio of income producing real estate that one day will be your retirement. Investing doesn't need to be something complicated, and budgeting doesn't need to be something that's difficult. It's really all about learning the basic financial skills early on and then just making that a habit long term, and to making a ton of that millennial money. So with that said, you guys,
thank you, Graham. Thank you for all advice, brother. The thing is, he's right. I mean, of course, he's right. He's a millionaire, and I believe he's 26. Oh no, not 26. He might be 30 now. He had to do some things, right, to get there. And his dads were not rich. Like my parents were not rich. I'm sure many of you guys here don't have rich dads, or moms. But his advice, especially the last one here with the investing in real estate, I like that idea, and I see some results already. Like I said, 5 years ago we bought our first one, and now we're going for the second one. And then like the image that he was showing with the $950,000 properties, we kind of want to achieve that as well, you know. And besides the YouTube side hustle, the website building side hustle, I think the more we do this, the more the more income sources we can bring into our homes, into our pockets.
Well, yeah, that same advice, I think it applies really well to website stuff because it takes a whole bunch of it's so much, I assume, to get that first home hack situation set up where you had to get the loan and everything and get people in. That's where the majority of the work happens, and you got to work really hard. And then he mentioned you can slowly start moving up, and that's what happens with the website stuff. If you have no money to start with, you're working for 6 months to a year of just making all your own content. And for me now, because it's always been more on the side, it's getting to a point now where I can reinvest so much of stuff back into more content. And then you see people, once things start growing, your opportunity to reinvest and keep expanding, it just becomes so kind.
That's true. That's 100% true. Anyway, guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope this was fun. I really enjoyed this fix. Thanks for doing this, brother. How did you feel for doing this first reaction episode, if you want?
I thought it was good. Yeah, it was awesome. It was fun. Thanks, chat, for everyone. Yeah, everyone chatting away. It was awesome.
Chat was awesome. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Helen, Sue, who was in here? Nomad Overseas, Leona. I apologize if I don't mention your name, but I can't see the chat. Michelle and everybody else. Thanks for stopping by. I'm gonna upload this to the Hasta La Vista Boss. How do you call it? Podcast? Hang on a second.
Yeah, what is it? Do you have a podcast as well?
What, you didn't know?
Oh no, you showed me. Yeah, when you first did it.
Here you go. If you go to Hasta La Vista Boss, or just it's here on the bar. It's podcast and YouTube live show. So I'm gonna upload it to the podcast as well. So if you are bored doing shopping or whatever you're doing, you can find it in here. There's many other episodes I've done with Fix as well, with WP Ego, with Matt Diggity and everybody here. So check it out.
Yeah, and that looks a lot like the shirt that I have that I got from Redbubble. It's one of the most comfortable shirts I've ever bought, Adrian.
Hang on a sec. I just put the screen.
So, oh yeah, this one right here. This one. What else did you need me to say about it?
Hey, read the script next time, bro.
Memorize it.
Look at the idea that Nomad Overseas said. You have to call that the Bosscast.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great idea. Bosscast. So like I said, thanks everybody for being here. Chris, I said, I just saw Chris. Adrian as well. Interesting stream. Yes, I hope someone is gonna.
I think that's a compliment.
Oh, he was it? I think he was. I hope he was. There you go. Some laughs. But yeah, check out the podcast, guys. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being here with me, Fix. And remember, maybe you know how to say this, Fix. Remember?
I remember Chris on Chris's interview. I love that part. I gotta do it like he did it too.
Yeah.
I keep working hard out there, boys, because one day we're gonna get rid of that boss. Okay.
Boom. See you later, everybody.
All right. See ya.
Yeah, I know sometimes it's hard when you get the feeling you just want to quit your job. We've all had that thought. This is what you want. Time to tune in. Hasta la vista, boss. Yeah, for my side hustlers who never stop. Quit your job and making your own profits. Become your own boss. Live life on your terms. Make it happen for real. This is what you deserve. Yeah. Hasta la vista, boss. Subscribe, have fun, and enjoy the ride. Let's go.
Boom. Just wait there once.